Welcome to the Let's Talk About Talking podcast with your host, Adrienne Fuller, language and communications expert for kids of all ages. On this podcast, we talk about speech, language, and all things happening with your child, giving you specific tactical information you can use to help your kids talk, listen, and thrive in their academic journey. Hello, welcome to the Let's Talk About Talking podcast. I am your host, Adrienne Fuller, better known as Miss A, the SLP, and this podcast talks about all things speech, language, academic, from when your child's a wee lad, very tiny, all the way through their academic journey. And I always say that because lately I'm being drawn towards the older crowd, and that's for a few reasons. Because our kids aren't going to be toddlers forever, and sometimes with the things that our kids are going through, we do want to start to hear information about the age that they are approaching. But another is that I am a proud auntie of two now teenagers. So if you followed me for any length of time, I had a blog. I still have it. It's on our website, speechbuilders.org. And I used to outline a lot of things that I did with the girls when they were really, really young. So I don't have any children personally, but I'm heavily involved in their lives. And I wanted to kind of share an experience with you today. And I have a very special guest with me. I am bringing on my own niece, Morgan. Hi, Morgan.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so glad that you're joining me today. Now, we are recording this, guys, during the spring break holiday. And yesterday, Morgan and I went to see Leslie Odom Jr. in concert. It was so good?
It was so good.
It was so good. And it was one of those things. We are huge Hamilton fans. Hamilton the musical, right?
Huge. Love it.
And so Leslie played the original casting of, he was in the original play, and he was Aaron Burr, and we love his voice, we love the way he sings, we love everything about him, and that concert did not disappoint, did it?
That did not disappoint. That was probably one of my favorite concerts I've ever been to. It was so good.
It was so good. So anyway, we're kind of still on that high, and we were in the car last night, and I remembered that Morgan actually went through speech therapy.
I did.
And so I was like, hey, do you want to jump on the podcast? And so that's what we're doing today. And so welcome, hun.
Thank you, Auntie. It was actually a really great night last night. We had so much fun going to that concert.
It was. And so Morgan is now 14. She's going to be 15 soon. She's a 9th grader. But when she was, how old were you? Like 2nd or 3rd grade,
maybe? I was
maybe?
in 2nd or 3rd grade.
And so it was the weirdest thing. So if you are listening to this and you're like a teacher or a therapist, sometimes you treat everyone else's kid, and you're like, sometimes can be blind to what's going on in your own house or family. And I never thought of that. But one day I happened to be over at the girls' house, and their mom was having them write sentences because school was about to start. And I remember Morgan saying, Auntie, or she said, Mommy, do you want me to write 6 sentences or 7 sentences? I did not know Morgan had such a huge lisp at the time. And so, all full disclosure, I had a lisp that wasn't diagnosed until I was in graduate school. And so I was like, oh my gosh, when did this lisp come in? And so for anyone who doesn't know, a lisp is when you say your S's with your tongue sticking out of your teeth, it touches your teeth instead of the tongue staying in your mouth. So it starts to sound like, kind of like, so that, remember that cartoon Sylvester? It was like Sylvester the cat, and he was like, succotash. So it's so cute when kids are young, but not as cute when they're old. And so I was like, oh my gosh, she has a lisp. Like, did you know you had a lisp at the time?
I didn't, because at the time, you're a little kid, so you're not really caring about that stuff. You're like 16 to 7 sentences. Like, you don't really know at the time, because you're like, I'm just vibing about getting ready to go to school. Right. So you don't really pay attention to that as a kid.
Now, did it make, when when we pointed it out, did it make you feel bad or anything? How did you feel?
It made me feel conscious about it because you're like, you don't feel normal at the time because you're like, am I like a weird kid? Am I like not normal because I have this issue? And you're like, is it me? Like, is it me just being not normal, or is it something that I actually need to be dealt with?
Oh, okay. So then when we said that you were going to be going through some speech therapy, how did that make you feel?
It was a roller coaster of emotions because you're like, I'm going to get this fixed. It's great. No one's going to think I'm weird. Cool. But then also you're like, is this going to be embarrassing because I need someone to help me with my speech, and this is something I should just naturally know how to do in school. Really? So you feel like you feel like special needs, like you have that, but you don't. It's just how you feel as a kid.
Morgan, wow. So that's very interesting. Like, so as a parent or even as a speech therapist, is there something that the adult could say to you to make you feel better about going through speech therapy?
It's not really what they can say. It's just the support that they give you, because people can tell you as a parent, no, it's not you, it's that. But I think as a kid, it's like, okay, these are just my parents. They have to say this. But I think when they give you the support and love that you want and need, I feel like you'll feel so much better.
Oh, okay. So do you think maybe looking back on it, maybe if we just say, hey, this is something we're just doing, doesn't mean anything wrong with you. We're just going to work on these things, because in the end, maybe share with you what we want the end result to be, maybe?
Maybe, because as a kid, when you hear that, you're like, I'm about to be tested, you're scared, you're nervous, you don't know what to do. But when people come to you in a calmer way, like, there's nothing wrong with you, we just want to get this fixed so you don't have to deal with this in the future as you get older, like in jobs or something like that. Like, it's kind of like braces.
Okay.
There's nothing bad with your teeth. You just want to get a few things, like, adjusted. So when you, like, I don't know, like, take a photo, get a job interview, you don't have to worry about your teeth.
That's so good, Morgan. Okay, so, and you know what? I appreciate you sharing that with me, because I think as adults, we're just trying to get all of the things done. Like, right. As a speech therapist, I want to be sure that all my kids get everything they need, but sometimes I forget
how it makes them feel.
Yeah, how you feel.
Because sometimes parents just tell them, but then they don't really take the time to be like, how did this affect them?
Oh.
Because when I heard it as a kid, you're like, you get scared because you're like, is something wrong with me? Do I have to get tested? Is there something? Well, you start freaking out, you get nervous. But when your parents come sit down with you, tell you what you really need. You might not understand it at a certain age because you're so young. But after you start to, like, understand what it means, and they're just trying to help you, they love you, and they want you to support you, because the world is brutal. They don't mind hurting anybody's feelings. But you learn that in high school too.
That's true.
Kids are brutal to people,
and that's why.
Right.
So maybe if we shared the why we're doing it, it would help.
Yes, because then parents don't have to do that to their kid, but to comfort their kid, it would probably be the best way to go.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, so as we were going through, this was way pre-pandemic, but because you live in a city that's a little further from Auntie, me, from our clinic, so you never came into the clinic. You did almost all of your sessions
at home
via Zoom. Did we use Zoom? We might have used Skype at the time.
Some sessions when you were over for Sunday dinner,
I would do
them. But then sometimes, like, if you were busy, because, you have a lot of clients and all that. You're super successful. You're busy.
You're so sweet. She's like my PR person too, guys.
I know. And so I think when you came, Zoom was great because I could hear it. But I think when you were more in the room with me, I felt more safe because you're someone I know, someone I can trust, someone I can tell anything to. I feel like it made me more safe.
Okay. But we did do them through Zoom.
We did do them through Zoom.
And was that okay, though? It wasn't? Because I'm only asking you because even to this day, even after the pandemic, Morgan, a lot of parents don't want to do Zoom sessions. Or when I say Zoom, I mean virtual therapy, because they're like, oh, my kid won't make progress. Oh, it won't be as effective. But we made a lot of effective. We made a lot of progress on Zoom.
It was. I think for some parents, don't all, but some, they think their kid would more be successful interactive.
Yes, in person.
Right. As a kid who loves to touch things, see things, feel things, get to know, I think that was one of my concerns because I was like, what if I'm not going to learn because she's so far? But I think as we did have Zoom, because I could hear it, and the part where I could touch, see, feel the tools, it made me feel more.
That's right, because we used those tools too,
We
didn't
did.
we? We used a set of straws, right?
Yes, and then wasn't there some with like the pink?
Yes.
Yes.
So with the lisp, we were using a particular set of straws that I found to be very great for the placement, teaching your tongue how to be in the right place. But okay, and I want to let the audience listening know, and as the kids say, no shade. When Morgan was going through speech therapy, she was a very wiggly child.
I was.
She was not that sit and just. She was very hyper.
I was hyper. No shade. No, I was very hyper. I was that kid. I couldn't sit through movies. I couldn't sit through a TV show. I would either want to touch, get up, move my body. I think that's something why I also enjoyed interactions more, because I can like get up, like if you can tell I got a little squirmy. I was a very squirmy kid,
but the Zoom still worked for a wiggly hyperactive child. I just want that to be known.
Yes,
because we did it through Zoom a lot. One of my assistants helped me out with that when I wasn't able to do the actual sessions. But I think, Morgan, the key piece was you guys always came when you were scheduled.
Oh, that's so important. If you don't go, honestly, if you don't go, you're only holding yourself back.
Yes.
For me, like, let's say, for example, me, I'm in braces right now, about to get out soon. Thank you, Jesus. I have appointments every 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. If I don't go, it's only holding myself back. It's not helping me in the future. So if you don't go to I get it. If there's a situation where you just can't come to your appointment, that's different. Reschedule. Don't just not show up. Because not only does it hurt the therapist, because they're like, I took all this time to plan for this child and they don't help. It's not fair for them because they're like, I just wasted all this time printing stuff out, which costs money on the therapist, which is not fair for the therapist. If you can't go, call in advance. I understand if there's a situation where you just can't get there. Call in advance, maybe 30 minutes, and be like, hey, I'm so sorry, can we reschedule?
Reschedule. And I want to here's a PSA. I did not tell her to say any of this. So no. I just find it very interesting that even as a 14-year-old, you get that consistency is important.
And consistency is important because that'll help you in the future.
Yes. So consistency, and then also what I found was you did practice at home too, right?
And try.
Yes.
You just need to try. Even, I get it, if you're tired, if you just can't do it, just try.
5 minutes a day, right? Morgan?
Right. Those straws were so fun, but I tried 5 minutes a day, and my parents let me relax after. I did my homework, I did my little speech stuff for like 5 to 10 minutes, and my parents said, go watch whatever you want to watch.
And so when she says speech stuff, she's talking about her speech words that she practiced. She went from the sound by itself, the S and the Z by itself, and then the syllable, and then she practiced in words, and then phrases and sentences. Now, the beauty of Morgan's journey is she really wasn't in speech that long.
I wasn't.
It was like, I don't even think it was a year. I don't even know if it was 6 months, Morgan.
I think it was 4 to 6 months.
I think it was 4 to 6 months,
It wasn't that long.
It wasn't long. And you guys, we're recording this obviously on a voice memo, but she has the most beautiful S. To me, it's seamless. Like not long after, I remember listening to her talking. I was like, oh my gosh, it's fixed. Her S is fine.
I think for me, after I got through that stage as a kid when you're like, I just don't want to do it. In the future, it will help. You can be mad at your parents all you want and be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want, they just don't want me to do this. When you get to that stage where it's all over, you're going to be like, thank God my parents made me go through this. Because I'm going to tell you, it is boring sometimes. It will.
Why are you saying that about Auntie's
not
job?
You, not your job, but the words, them telling you to say words over and over again. But as you work hard and it becomes actually really fun. They let you play with toys. They let you play with a lot of fun stuff. But if you just try hard for 10 to 15 minutes, we didn't even do it every day, did we?
We probably did the actual speech 1 or 2 times a week, and then hopefully you practiced 5 to 6 times a week. So, but
you can't lie on camera.
But you were the thing was that you were consistent.
I was consistent. And I think parents, when you support your kid in it, like hype them up, maybe be like, how about if you do this 10 to 15 minutes, we can go watch your favorite show. Something to persuade them. Because it's always that for me. When I'm like, I was like, to my mom, I'd be like, Mom, this is really boring. I don't want to do this. And my mom was like, how about this? I know your favorite show was Power Rangers, because that was when I was a kid.
It was.
If you do that, we'll go watch it together, me and you. And then we had some snacks and had fun. It persuaded me because we had a tradition where we do it. And it was so fun because it's like, okay, let me just get this done. Let me try hard so I could just have fun for like an hour. It was so fun.
I love it. So I was glad that we are having this conversation, and it's like even opening my eyes, because from now on I'm going to be a little bit more persuasive with my clients and reassure them.
Right.
But if a parent is like on the fence about, should I start speech therapy for my child? I don't want them to go through it, or I don't think Zoom is for them. What would you as a kid tell a parent who was on the fence?
Start early.
That's good.
Because
Morgan.
if you start late, then it's not only going to affect your kid, it's going to affect you, because at the time you're like, you could have helped yourself with the stress of just thinking about your kid and being like, I should have done this like a year ago. I should have done this earlier or later. Because if you do it earlier, you're going to be it might be a lot of work with your kid, but in the end, they're going to speak so much better. That's going to help them in jobs in the future. You don't think it now, but as they get older, it's going to help so much.
That was awesome. Hey, you guys, that's all I have for today. Morgan, that was awesome. Guys, we just literally pushed record and started recording this, and you said so many.
This is so fun.
It was fun. It was so many good gems, and so don't hesitate. We have lots of great content on our website, guys. Speechbuilders.org. If you go to the blog part of the blog section, we have tons of blogs on this, and don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you for joining me, Morgan.
Of course, it was so fun. Best aunt ever, and best speech therapist ever. If I was a parent, I would go straight to her website and make a call right now.
I didn't tell her to say this, guys, but she's not wrong. All right, guys, that's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to the Let's Talk About Talking podcast with your host, Adrienne Fuller, language and communications expert for kids of all ages. You can grab Adrienne's book, 30 Days to Get Your Toddler Talking, on Amazon or at speechbuilders.org.